from last week, because Gary hadn't seen all of it, was the
Call
the Midwife finale from a week last Sunday, which saw the death of Sister Evangelina, played by Pam Ferris. I'd seen this episode by last week, but Gary hadn't quite made it through. I got fairly emotional during it, but I want to know his sort of emotional state by the end of it.
I was fine by the end of it because, as I said before, I think they did telegraph it a little bit. I think it was obvious, and I think the thing was, I think there have been.
Well,
I think as well. Didn't BBC One send out a tweet saying something like, "Oh, death of a beloved character"?
But I don't think it was the shock of it.
It's not the
it's
shock
the emotional
of it, it's
impact
the
after.
Yeah,
the stuff
I think the thing is though that my emotion. No, because she'd already kind of left the series once, hadn't she? She'd left halfway through the series.
I'm not saying it's the emotion over her dying. I'm saying
no, but I think therefore I wasn't. Had she have never gone, I think I might have.
It was my reaction to people's feelings about her death from the community. Everyone joining together, everyone lining up to want to see her body. The florists donating flowers because they've all been delivered by this nun, and just the outpouring of emotion. And there was other little scenes as well. And what I love about Call the Midwife is that even if there's characters who aren't in the central storylines, they can have these little moments. For example, Helen George in this last episode, there was a great little scene between her and Linda Bassett.
Yeah.
Neither of them were big in this storyline, but you've had Helen George throughout this. Trixie has been having these problems. She's been going to Alcoholics Anonymous. She's having to see her ex-fiancé with a new woman, and it's all about sort of loneliness and stuff. And there was just this great scene with Linda Bassett where she was trying to comfort her and say, some people make a good life out of being a spinster, but you'll be back on your feet again. And I just thought that was all brilliant. And it's the way that they can balance so many characters and so many strongly written characters. And I think all the stuff with what's his name, Stephen McGann's character, the Doctor, and all the scandal.
I wasn't a big fan of him in that last episode, but leading up to it was pretty good.
And his reaction to finding out that he'd prescribed this drug.
Yeah.
Well, but actually, the drug he'd prescribed wasn't to the mothers who'd then given birth to the deformed babies. It was like it had been passed on by sisters and things like that. And
we take a lot of this stuff for granted now, but in those days it was very new, and there wasn't the information. They talk a lot about the Lancet, which is pretty much redundant these days as a medical journal, but in those days was the place to get your information. You got published in the Lancet, that was a career-defining thing.
What was the last show to make you emotional, Gary? Do you remember?
Gosh.
But I suppose that actually last drama to make you emotional.
I'll have to think about that and come back to you.
Overall, Gary,
are
you glad you stuck with...
Definitely, yeah. This is now something I'll look forward to the Christmas special and the next series. I think I've become converted to this drama because I think I'd discarded it as it's for mums and women and things like that. But actually, no, this is I thought it was a female show, and I thought, but actually, no,
lady women,
really good.
Damn those lady
women.
I can say that the other show that made me emotional choke up was The West Wing. There's a couple of episodes of The West Wing. When Mrs. Landingham died, when Josh and Donna got together. If you're invested in a show, they always play with your emotions. There's a bit that always gets me where Josh goes to see a counsellor after the shooting in Series 2, in Series 1, and this is in Series 2. And as he comes out, his boss, played by Leah McGarry...
That's not the actor's name.
No, it's not the actor's name, the character's name, and he tells him a little parable... about a man who
played by Liam McGarry, though.
I lost the plot there.
John Spencer.
Yeah. And he tells him a little parable, and he says, a guy falls down a hole, and a doctor walks by, and he says, "Oh, doctor, can you help me?" And the doctor throws a prescription down. And he sees a priest go by, and the priest says, "Can you help me?" And the priest says, he throws a prayer down. And then he sees a friend, and the friend jumps in the hole, and he went, "What did you do that for?" He said, "Well, I've been in this hole before, and I know the way out." And then he turns and he goes, "You got a job, I got a job, you got a job." And it just gets me every time I see it.
It's the way you tell.
It's the way you tell them.
I got a job, you got a job. Yeah.
Gary, you want to bring something up about Stag?
Yeah, I enjoyed episode 1. I about 5-10 minutes in, I started to get it. And I think
I think
you're
that's
right.
better than what me and Luke did.
Yeah,
But
and
No,
I think
I got
5-10
it. I
minutes.
just didn't. It
And
took
I actually
20
think
minutes.
your review helped, because I think had I have watched 20 minutes and thought I might have not bothered, but actually because you told me, and what was really good was you said was the cast. You know, there are some strong performances. Little bit of a Nordic noir theme, because the guy from Denmark is the guy in
Borgen. What's his
Borgen,
face?
and he's going to be playing a key character in the next series of Game of Thrones as well.
And also he hosted the Eurovision Song Contest several years ago.
That's, well, yes, when it was in Denmark. The humour isn't laugh out loud, but there are some lovely moments.
And it's
where
intriguing.
they're arguing. It's intriguing, and the best thing I think was the fact that you've got a guy in a dinner suit and a guy in a pink bunny suit, which is just great. So,
and Luke, me and you have finished the series now. What did you
Yeah.
think, without spoiling it for Gary?
It's hard because
What did
I
you
wanna
think of
spoil
just
it.
like reaction to the ending?
It's so nice to come to the end. The Happy Valley ended, I was happy. Trapped ended, I was happy. This ended, I was happy. It's so nice to be satisfied.
I found it a bit. I don't know. I liked Jim Howick in it in the final scenes. I was
There's so
sort of
much
a
I
bit,
could say, but I won't say.
befuddled. I think again. Will you finish this by next week, Gary?
maybe.
He's got
I've-
how much is that?
Four trapped and 2 stags.
My hard
Yeah.
drive is 60% full. I'm going to struggle.
Hello, ladies.
Hello, ladies.
Hello, ladies.
Let's move on to
To
the BBC
13.
313.
But who's doing this? We're going at Gary pace. It's like US pace, but
Yeah.
So
It's like
it's
going
ironic.
at UK
someone's
pace, isn't
actually,
it, the
Luke,
US
you're
show.
going to have to lead this. Or Gary, actually, tell us what happened
Okay,
at the end
so
of
I've
episode
seen-
2.
Okay.
'Cause
I've seen episode 2, which, as you say, begins to bring in the more of the idea that Ivy isn't Ivy, or that Ivy is lying about her experiences.
It's not Ivy is in Ivy as much as Ivy is withholding things.
Yeah, or she's not telling the truth. It is revealed that someone. It was revealed right at the end of episode 1 that the kidnapper is alleged to have taken somebody else. So Ivy tries to help out by going back to the house where she escaped from, and seems to start making a lot of inconsistencies in her story. And she opened up her soul to her boyfriend, and he revealed that he was married, or she noticed
They
that
were
he was
never
married.
really sort of boyfriend. They're like sort of childhood
No, it was-
sweethearts.
Yeah,
It's
but she
yeah.
wanted to run away with him.
Yeah, well, she.
We got
we're
the-
going to go on a date to see the Scorpion King, which was some good,
Well, that's
You
date-wise.
Good
That did come out in
reference,
2002. So
yeah.
I think as well, the one thing that annoyed me, there's this bit where he gives her an iPod.
I was
filled
going to say
with-
the exact
Yeah,
same
the
thing.
iPod was silly.
It was
Because,
the
no, it wasn't silly. It was the fact that she had 10 years worth of
and she only
music on
listens
it,
to the
and
one song.
and she only listened to the one that I'd never heard of in my life.
Have they put
That's-
that as a
that's-
playlist on BBC Three's website? Because if they haven't,
I doubt it.
but
No.
they must-
I reckon that's a money-saving thing, that they went for a song that they probably didn't have to
But
pay
they could have
rights.
picked anything from the last
Yeah,
10
but
When you're
years. and
talking
make-
honest,
about music,
no.
I really like the theme tune that they've got for
Really?
13.
Oh.
I went to my quiz on Monday that I go to once a month,
Yeah.
and guess
Yeah.
it was the music round.
Minder.
They had,
Yeah.
No, they had all film themes apart from one TV theme, and guess what the TV theme was?
Unforgotten.
It's something Luke is a theme that Luke's played on this show before now.
Great.
Ooh. Kimmy Smith? Oh, not the bridge.
No, The Returned.
Oh, I
Oh.
love it.
I was just singing
I
along with
love it. I love it so much.
And also,
I love that theme tunes are coming back.
Can we just say as well that the music in Trapped was absolutely brilliant?
Oh, yeah.
Johan Johansson, who also was Oscar nominated this year for Sicario. I don't know if Luke's seen that yet.
I've got the Blu-ray on the desk here, and I've yet to.
Just
sit
to go
down
back to 13 for a quick second.
Okay,
We
yeah, go back.
learned,
Oh,
we
yeah,
learned,
we were.
we learned at the end of this episode that she appears to have been abducted again. We think by the previous guy, but we don't know, because all you see is a hand going over her mouth. But assuming that you find out more about that, what's going on in episode 3.
And Moon Boy's dad's gone dark this last couple of
Yeah,
weeks.
he's
I
in
know,
this
hasn't he,
episode as the yeah, I noticed that.
He was in that. He's the kidnapper
He's
in
in
13,
Murder as
and he
well.
was also in Murder, and he did
Yeah.
a murder in Murder.
Well,
Don't cancel his shows, I'll tell you.
Moon
What I
Boy's
would
still
like to
going
say-
on, isn't it? Have we
No,
got
I think it's
Moon Boy?
finished now.
it's
Is it?
taken a very long extended break while Chris O'Dowd breaks America.
What this?
Like Donald Trump is trying to do, but by
Was that an official press release?
I've just put my hard drive down to 57%, ladies.
I want to find Gary's Tinder profile now.
You can't. Use my real name. I mean, my false name. Yes.
You know, if you type your name into Google.
Yeah. Oh, I'm like a gun owner in America or something.
No. I haven't even, like, searched it yet. But you know when it sort of auto-corrects what you're looking for?
Go on.
Gary Redrup obituary comes up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, there was some gun engraver in America or something, and he died.
Oh,
and he was locally famous, not nationally famous.
yeah, but it's like the thing, Gary Redrup obituary. Oh.
Yeah,
what I was going to say was, I don't think it works, the online thing for this. I think, you know, I'm watching on BBC Two and the iPlayer sometimes, depending on, you know, where I am. Matt's watching on previews, which is obviously out the ordinary for most people. Gary's watching on BBC Two on Saturday nights, but not actually watching it. He's watching it recorded and
Sunday
nights.
You know, the only time I will watch it online is when it gets to the last episode. I'll watch the 5th episode. Is it 6 they're doing, or
no, it's 5.
5. So when I've watched episode 4 on BBC Two, if it's left on a hanger, I'll go and watch the 5th one on BBC Two. On a cliffhanger, sorry. Cliffhanger.
But I also think I tried to watch the next one on iPlayer. I have a smart TV. I thought I'll use it. I don't normally use it for that, but I will. I found it really difficult to find the episode I wanted to watch. I found it wasn't front and centre like they tell you all the BBC Three things were going to be. I had to go A to Z. I had to press T. I had to find 13. It was a real slog.
I'm just imagining now. I've got a mental image of Jodie Comer in that white dressing gown, just hanging from a hook.
Shall we conclude with a bit of meat?
Indeed.
Oh yeah, fresh meat.
And I do agree that not this week's, the week before that you were talking about last week, the one where
the commune.
Oh my!
Yeah, the one where they'll go away was very classic, fresh meat. And as you say, like when you split them up and get them into those different groups, like the episode where they all went to London for the protest, was very good. And there were sort of flash nods to that with them going to London as well. I thought it was excellent.
For me, the interesting thing about this week is I really enjoyed it at the time. It's now Thursday as we record, and the only thing I remember about it was Howard's magic skills, which I thought...
I actually thought that I loved the bit where they all sort of stood up for Oregon, and they were the only people. And that got me quite emotional, actually, because there's sort of bond between these... And then, like, Josie, who's the badminton this week. I just think... the
badminton was quite funny.
About Kimberly Nixon and this storyline of Josie.
She just seems to have really found her
groove.
Where
there's this thing where every week she's trying to find new friends for the next year where she'll be on her own. And
I think, for me, the only character who's now a little bit not good is Oregon, because... Now that she's the president...
Sorry, Gary, a little bit not...
No, but I mean...
it's not a grammar podcast, we can allow that.
It's like... Before, she was like the uncool kid trying to be cool. You know, trying to
I like her in this series.
But then, now she's the president and she's just clearly the corrupt president. She seems to have forgotten who she is a little bit.
But I think, judging from that last little bit, you know, when she's looking at the Fulbright magazine... I think this is her story arc, and we're getting now to the next bit of it. So I think maybe what you're saying is it's taken too long to get to... I loved the bit with her, with Zvod cutting her hair. I just thought that was amazing.
What's happened here
is...
I just think Zoe Ashton, of the 6 of them, though, is the one who's best at delivering the lines. I just think...
Kingsley, for me, is the weakest. Is the weakest.
It's a one-note gag, really, isn't it? That he's sort of quite pretentious and quiet,
and he's so close to his In-Betweeners character that I just think,
I never really watched the In-Betweeners, so...
But me neither.
Okay, pick the week.
Yes. Why don't you go first, Matt?
I'm gonna go... Are we going for something that's on next Thursday? Someone else picking that, or shall I go?
No, I'm not picking
you can go for it.
Have that.
You can go
okay, Thursday next... so what are we, the 24th? We won't be doing another podcast, so we won't be listening to another podcast before that. It will be Line of Duty Series 3.
But we might be talking
BBC
about
Two.
that on next week's show.
Yes.
Might give Gary
this
the
is
preview.
After Lenny James and Keeley Hawes, the focus in this first episode is on Daniel Mays, who's playing a character called Danny, which is easier to...
Just easier.
And